And I would like to release the pressure to have everything all figured out in your 20s, in your 30s. I'm trying to release the pressure off myself to have it all figured out in my 40s. Again, this glorious, infinite God made me, fashioned me in my mother's womb. And it did the same thing with you and everybody who's watching right now. So let's just go on a journey with him and allow him to uncover different things as we continue to walk. Let's do this.
I'm really excited. This message was absolutely incredible. I love
You're kind.
the topic on unity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably ask a lot of questions about that.
Let's do that.
Like I see you talking about that and us as a church going in that direction. But we asked you this once, I feel like maybe months ago,
Okay.
that I love asking you this question. You often have someone in particular on your mind when you start building out a message, maybe not like a specific person, but a type of person. And I wanted to see if when you were building this out, you had someone that was in a certain season of life or anything like that on your
Oh, that's a really good question. On this one in particular, I probably would have had the picture of a few different folks in my head. I would have had the picture of really our church. It's, I know this might sound so cliche, but it really does look like heaven. And I know we don't have everyone, you know, because no place can have everyone, but goodness, it just is so beautifully diverse in the most amazing ways. And I just kept seeing the mom and dad, and then along with the single mom, along with the SMU student, along with the UTD student, along with, you know, graduate student, along with the business owner. I saw so many different folks, and I did see us in a car and we're driving along, and you got all these different people in the back of the car, and we have a convergence of worlds, right? We have so many different worlds coming together, and when you have a lot of different worlds coming together, you don't always know how to operate in another world that you're not used to operating in. So that can create at times, and we don't experience a ton of this, but it can create in the greater society angst, fear. But because we have so much love, and perfect love drives out fear, because we have so many people that walk with humility, because we have so many people that are interested in stepping outside their comfort zone, we have this beautiful mosaic that has come together. And I just want to make sure we preserve that, and not just preserve it in a way like we're trying to protect it from the big bad world, but preserve it in a way where we can show this to the beautiful world. I want to make sure what God has put together, to quote a wedding, let no man put asunder, right? Don't let anyone tear this apart. And I know in the day and age we live in, there's a lot of things trying to tear apart. There's the day and age we live in, there's a lot that's trying to tear the fabric of unity. And I think the church is the perfect place, or the perfect medium for us to say, hey, look what God has done. His blood runs red, and that blood has changed and transformed every single one of us. So all these different kids of God that are in the back seat, this colliding of worlds, we all have this one Father. So since we do, let's not just get along, but let's paint a beautiful picture of what unity and this tapestry could look like to the world. And you know, like I know, Liv, I mean, so many people keep coming into our church week in and week out. They're like, what's going on here? How did you manufacture this? And we didn't manufacture anything. But it's beautiful to see what God has done. So that's who was on my mind. I want to make sure we keep being true to who we are, who God has designed us to be, and I can't wait to see how that continues to shout to the world around us.
I love that. That's awesome. And you talk a lot about how, because we have so many different people who are in so many different spheres of life, how whether you're a mom or a boss or a creative or a student, you have a part to play in the body of Christ, and you have a role to play. What would you say to people that A, maybe are still searching for what that role is, and they don't necessarily feel like they have a part to play, or even B, because you talked about that tension of having so much maybe discontentment, or looking to the left and the right and saying, well, okay, I want to do that, or I want to do that. People that maybe don't like the part that they feel like they've been given.
I mean, I feel like a lot of weight has been given to this idea of being true to yourself. And I just, I don't really buy that. I don't think, overall, it's a good idea. But when it gets down to it,
Yeah.
okay, I still feel like I'm figuring stuff out about myself, and I'm now in my 40s, right?
Yeah.
So when I was in my 20s, I surely didn't know everything about myself. And when I talk to 6-year-olds, they're like, man, I'm still figuring things out. So I guess we're actually always on this journey of discovery, this journey of figuring more things out and who God designed us to be. Think about it. If an infinite God would make us finite human beings, it doesn't surprise me that he would put treasures on the inside of us that we would not be able to discover for quite some time. So to think you have to be 24 and know it all, I just think is a bunch of garbage. And I think it puts a lot of pressure on people to feel like they have to have their whole life figured out. And I'm thankful for those 7 people that do have it all figured out. But there's just 7 of them. For the rest of us, we are on this glorious journey, and as we continue to delve deeper into who God is and who Christ is on the inside of us and who we are in Christ, I think some things get crystallized. So I would say, just do something. Just jump on the journey. Just get outside of yourself. Just love people, just serve. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about church, I think. And we even have so many young people for 8, 9, 14, 17-year-olds that were like, hey, jump on the journey. Just do something. And I think it shows these young people, God can use you right now. You can be a support and a strength. So get in the parking lot. Go watch the kids and love on them and pour life and vision and strength into them. Get behind the camera and try to figure out how to work it and, mess things up at times. I know those things might seem small and insignificant, but I think it helps us on the journey of discovery. Like, man, I actually like this. I never thought I would enjoy a camera. I never thought I would enjoy the lights. I never thought I would enjoy kids this much. And I think that can then unlock other things for a person. So that's kind of my thought on that whole thing. I just think people are putting way too much pressure on themselves. And I would like to release the pressure to have everything all figured out in your 20s, in your 30s. I'm trying to release the pressure off myself to have it all figured out in my 40s. Why would I? I think I've got so much more life to live, and to think that I'm done right now would be foolish. Again, this glorious infinite God made me, fashioned me in my mother's womb. And he did the same thing with you and everybody who's watching right now. So let's just go on a journey with him and allow him to uncover different things as we continue to walk. And again, I do think all this is found in the person of Jesus Christ. I think the scriptures teach us and show us which way to go. But I don't think we have to have it all figured out just yet.
So good. I feel like that's so relieving for so many people because there's this tension and pressure to, what are you going to do? I mean,
what are you going to do?
Asking like 7-year-olds, what are you going to be whenever you grow up?
That's right.
So I feel like
That's
it's
right.
so relieving. And talking about unity, I love that we have a spirit of unity in our church. And I was thinking a lot about people that live their everyday life in the corporate world, in different spheres of life. What would you say are practicals that we could give people who are working in the corporate world on how to command unity in their sphere, because it's different than...
It's totally different. I mean, we recognize that some people love being a part of the church family because it's like an oasis. It's a break from the dog-eat-dog world that is out there, and you come into a place where people are actually genuinely for each other, and it's a place of community and love, and that's why it's nice, But we don't live at church. We live in the real world. We live with people cutting us off. We live with people trying to get our jobs. We live with people trying to stab us in the back so they look better than we do. We live with people trying to take credit for a report that we did or an idea that we have had. That's the world that we live in. But here's the truth. If the gospel does not work outside of church, then it doesn't work. And I know the Savior that I serve and follow, and that gave his life for me, he was not crucified in some church building. He was crucified on a hill where all could see him. He was crucified out in the marketplace, out in the real world. So if that cross was able to stand true in the real world 2,000 years ago, the same cross stands true today out in the real world. So what I would say for people is, hey, be who Jesus has called you to be, okay? And it's going to be hard. Yes, it's countercultural because people will stab you in the back. And you got to be smart, and I get we got to play, I don't want to even say some of the games. You got to be smart, okay? So you're going to be taken advantage of at times, but don't let yourself be taken advantage of at times. So there's this unique tension that you're going to have to live with. But I would say if you've got an idea at your job, and you bring it to your boss, and your boss then takes that idea and they get credit for it, he or she takes credit for that idea, you still win. Because you just made the company better. And there is nothing that you can do and nothing that you can do on behalf of God, any seed that you sow that makes something better, where God's not going to say, I saw that.
Beautiful.
I got that. Don't worry. Hey, your boss might not give you credit for it. I'm giving you credit for that. You took the idea that I gave you and you put it where you were supposed to put it because you could not get to the CEO. You could only get to your supervisor. So you did what you knew to do. I'm counting that. And I know there are some seeds that you sow right now that you don't get to see the harvest of until 5 to 7 years from now. But be okay doing the right thing. Be okay being the right person. Be okay being overlooked. God is working all of these things out for His glory and your good. And I know it might feel like it's an injustice. It feels wrong. It feels like this is not right. But trust me, I have never seen the righteous forsaken or their seed begging bread. So if you will stay at it and keep doing the right thing, you will be shocked at the harvest that comes later. You cannot sow and not reap those types of blessings and encouragement in life that God has for you. So that would be my encouragement for the marketplace. So be the one that brings the life. Be the one that brings the joy. Be the one that brings the unity. Be the one that will say, I'm not going to be in that conversation. I'm actually going to try to support them in that. Well, don't you know? I actually do know. But I want to do what's right. Because if I was the boss, this is what I would want done for me. And if we can be those types of people, I think the sky is the limit. I think the world takes notice because it's so countercultural at that point in time.
That's so good. That's like where you harped on yesterday, where there's unity, God commands a blessing. I feel like it all ties into that. And you had also mentioned, and I got chills whenever you talked about this, how you feel like us as a church, as Shoreline City Church, you feel like there's another level of unity that we've yet to tap into. And I wanted to ask you, as part of the church, and I think there are so many people that would be desperate to know the answer to this too, because we want to see heaven on earth. What does that look like to you as far as what we can do to level up in our unity?
Oh man, that's a great question. That's right.
What does that look like?
I do think there's another level of vulnerability that we must be willing to get to. And if we are willing to get to that level of vulnerability with each other, I think it will unlock another level of unity and strength in our church family. I am so thankful for all the people that come to our church. I love it. I am shocked by it. You know, when I say thousands, I go, whoa, that doesn't even sound right, but that's the reality of it. And when you have all these people converging and being a part of this community of faith, I do get concerned that we're comfortable with the surface. We can get really comfortable because you're not sure, can I trust? You're not sure, what are you going to do with what I'm sharing? And the reality is, I cannot promise that everything we share in a place of vulnerability will always be carried properly. I cannot. I wish I could guarantee it. I cannot guarantee it. But what I can guarantee is if we're not willing to go there, there will not be another level of unity, and there will not be another level of God commanding his blessing, and there will not be another level of intimacy. I can guarantee that, because we're not going to live fake, plastic, manipulated lives.
Yeah.
I want the real here. I want us to be a church that has our masks off, but not just like, I'm keeping it real, my mask is off. It's like, no, here's who I am.
Yeah.
This is what I have walked through. This is what I am walking through. And we have a community that's like, hey, let me speak the word of God into that situation. Let me be someone that points you back to Jesus Christ. Let me be someone that will be willing to cry with you and laugh with you and stand with you. And this is not some stuff that just happens at like a youth camp, you know? And I love youth camps, but I'm talking about living a life like this, having a community like this. And if we can get there, I'm telling you, I think people's best friends are here, and I think people's other best friends are on their way here, and I think that type of life and joy and vulnerability and honesty, I think there's something about that, and God's gonna go, yeah, I want to smile on that right there. And not only do we have we have the picture of unity, right? We have that. We've got, I mean, in this room, black people, and Ryan, where are you from again?
New Zealand.
New Zealand. You know, we got Ryan's from New Zealand. And, of course, on our staff, we've got Fijians and Africans, and we've got blonde, and we've got brown, and we've got all sorts of shades of people. I love it. That's beautiful. But the next level is not just us celebrating, oh, look at our skins are different, and we all worship together. That's cool. But I think God wants more. I think there's another level of when people that might look different have a heart connection, and you get heart connection by focusing on the same mission, heart connection by serving each other, heart connection by opening up your heart to each other and letting there be an exchange, a giving, a taking, a sowing, a reaping, a loving, all of that stuff that gets us to that next level. So yeah, connect groups are happening. I hope we go there. I'm trying to live there myself. I want to try to lead the way in all of this. I don't want to ask our church to do something I'm not willing to do. So when it comes to vulnerability, I'm trying to live there. When it comes to giving, I'm trying to live there. When it comes to serving, I'm trying to live there. When it comes to loving, I'm trying to live there. And if we can have that, I just think it will be shocking. All that God is going to do, and think about all that He has done. But I just think there's another level. There's another level. I can't wait to get there.
So good, so good. Okay, well, we'll finish with this part because I feel like connect groups actually play a really big piece in what you've been talking about with unity and vulnerability. What is something? Because right now, as this is going up on Instagram, people can sign up to host a connect group.
Okay.
What would you say to people that have been on the fence about hosting a connect group? What do you dream of? I know we've talked about vulnerability, but what is your dream for connect groups and specific for people who lead them? What would you arm them with as they're kind of on the fence about whether or not they should?
Well, I think one of the things that's true is every single person in our church is already in a group. You're doing something with someone at some point in time. So you're already in a group. We're not trying to give you something extra. We're trying to help you facilitate God-centered, Christ-centered community in how you're already living life. So those of you that love sports, hey, you're already getting together with people that love sports. Don't you know that there's a bunch of other people that love that as well? Hey, go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to go outside of my comfort zone. I'm going to open up myself some to do life with people that will do what I already enjoy doing. Let's go here. Some other people love studying the Bible. Other people love, I go down the line of all the different things. So I want to take the pressure off that all of a sudden you've got to be some deep theologian that understands everything and your whole life is in order and everything is perfect. That's not the case. Now, do we have some training that we're going to give you? Yes, we do. Do we ask that you've gone through Growth Track and you said this is your church home? Of course we do, because we do have a heart that we want to express in all of our connect groups. We do have a culture that we're trying to present, and continue to pour into people. I almost said perpetrate, but that sounds like a weird word to say. So I was thinking of another word. So we're trying perpetuate. Maybe that was the word. There's the word. In everybody's in every group that we have, we want it to feel a certain way. We want people to be pointed a certain direction. We do want all of that. So we want to train you on what that looks like. But you've got it in you.
Yeah.
You do. And I would say, if it's on your heart to do it. That's probably God telling you you ought to do it. So I'm just hoping we have enough people that will have enough courage to be willing to step outside their comfort zone and willing to say, you know what? I'll do this. I'll do this. And I'm not promising everything will be perfect.
Yeah.
I will not make that promise. But I will promise you'll grow.
Yeah.
I will promise that you're going to be a better person. I will promise you're going to be conformed more into the image of Christ. I will promise that you're going to be able to bring hope and strength into somebody else's life that you never thought you'd have an impact on. So I would like for us to have a church family of leaders. And I'm asking all of our leaders, those that are like maybe a little bit on the fence, to be willing to do it. And you don't sit back and go, I wonder who's going to come. What you do is when you're walking through church or you're at Target, when you're at the gym, you're like, hey, you want to come hang out with me and do this? It's not the church's job to fill your group. It's your job to keep on inviting people to come into your world as you enter into their world and you watch what God does.
It's awesome.
So
awesome. That was amazing.
Hey, thank you,
so much.
Liv. I appreciate it. And thank you, all of our beautiful friends on Instagram and YouTube and wherever else you may be.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.